how did you fund this place at the very beginning? I mean, how did you gather the capital and actually be able to rent the space and to put on your first show?
Well, it was through private support, through individuals whom we feel very privileged and honored to have appealed to the sensibility of, and who really understood what it was that we wanted to do and took, frankly, a tremendous, risk. The angle or our approach was really from the beginning to contact folks who are patrons of the arts, who were already donating funds to artistic institutions without the expectation of any sort of a return, and sort of describing to them that this is an environment that requires probably 1/10 of that investment, or in this case investment, as opposed to donation. And you might even see a return. And we are sort of in a unique position as young musicians who have the finger, or a finger rather, on the pulse of what's happening right now.
There's
to do that.
There are so many young kids who have ideas similar to yours or different. And what would you advise them in terms of how you approach people? I think that we all know that it would be good to go to people who love the arts, etc. But what do you think are the key ways in which you should approach someone who you want to support your project?
Organized, first and foremost, with a clear idea of what you want to do and what you need to get there, and with a sensitivity towards what it is that person might have an interest in. So if you're talking to somebody who has, a labor of love that is education, and you want to, have them support your string quartet, then maybe you start by considering the ways that string quartet might be able to do outreach for them, or in the spheres that they've already developed. So, like anything else, sort of one hand washes the other, and there is this reciprocal nurturing that goes on. And so thinking about that from the beginning, as opposed to, which is hard, because in the beginning you're thinking so much about what you need and what you want in order to be able to fulfill what is, your passion. And yet somebody else has a passion too, and they're on the other side of the, the lunch table or whatever. And so that's, it's important. But it really can't be underestimated what that support, can do. I mean, otherwise, there's just a bunch of ideas floating around, which is amazing and beautiful, but they only get realized if you find somebody who's generous enough to make them come alive.
To support it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to ask if you made cold calls, or if this was part of introductions from other people that you knew, or a combination of both. I think for many of us, just the idea of cold calling is very scary and intimidating. So I don't know if that was part of it, or if there were introductions made and they just led to meeting these people.
I think it depends a lot, on where the business is, or if the person or ensemble is in terms of their trajectory. If they have a brand or a strong draw already with an audience, and all of that will make it easier to do something like a cold call, where maybe it's just not to any random person, but someone who would be interested, who's known to have interest in whatever that is that you're reaching out about. When you're first starting out, I think it really has no choice but to start with the people that you trust, friends and family, and then you start with that circle, and you just sort of expand outwards, because you need people that really trust you from, it's almost like an angel, in tech they call it an angel investor. You need someone that will trust you and want to take a risk from the very, very get-go.